All right, so for this assignment, I'm going to show you guys how to color a cartoon character, but with the emphasis of using your layers window, so that you can organize your files. So let's start by looking for an outline of a cartoon character. So it's up to you which cartoon character you want. So I chose Pluto, and here's an outline, just a black outline. And then you're going to need a colored version, and it doesn't have to be the same pose. If you get the same pose, that's fine, but if you don't worry about it. All right, once you have your references, you're going to open up Photoshop. So I have Photoshop already open. I'm going to create a new file. And this file is going to be 8 by 10 by 300 ppi, and it's going to be 8 by 10 inches. So first we're going to change the name of this file, and it's going to be your last name dash cartoon. So we're going to try to keep it consistent with the labeling, just so for your future file management too. The second step is to change where it says pixels. You're going to change that to inches. That's going to be your unit of measure. We're going to change the width to 8. We're going to change the height to 10. We're going to leave resolution at 300. And the color mode is set to RGB, which is good. And then leave the rest of this alone. And then hit create when you're done. So a new file should open up. So this is your new file. And Photoshop works in this tab system. So every time you drag a new image or make a new file, it's gonna automatically tab it on here. Now you're gonna go to your references. So here's my outline. You're gonna drag this outline down to Photoshop here. Oop, can't do it. Drag it. It's not working. Click and drag. Here you go. Now the next step is to add our outline of our cartoon character onto that new Photoshop file that we just made. And it can be as easy as click and drag, clicking and dragging onto this file right here until you see that orange-green circle, and then drop it. And to place it, you just press done or return on your keyboard. So now what you'll notice is obviously your new cartoon character is on there. And right now I have my move tool selected. So I can move this around in space, or at least within my canvas space. And if you look for your layers window, my layers window is right here, you'll notice that you'll have 2 layers now. So originally, when you first started, you only had a background layer. Now because you pasted this, or you placed this onto this file, it remembers this new thing as a new layer. So that's what's cool about Photoshop. So this is your new layer of Pluto, or whatever cartoon character you chose to pick. On the left side right here of the layers, these are your visibility toggles, so you can turn this visibility off if you don't want to see that, and you can just turn it back on. Now if your image looks like this on your layers window, that means it's a smart object. So that's something else totally on for later lessons. But if your image looks like this and it's got this little gray tab on the lower right hand side, that means it's a smart window, so, or it's a smart object. So let's change that so that we can manipulate this a little bit easier by going to layer and go to rasterize, and we're going to rasterize that layer. And that's going to allow us to manipulate this a little bit easier. So let's focus on this layer and setting up this file so that it's easier to add the colors and edit them later. So go to your layers window. Here it is again, there's my layers window. Now you can, if you want to, the behavior of these windows right here on the right hand side, you can click and drag it and take it out of its tab position, and you could increase the size of that window because eventually you're going to have a whole bunch of layers, so at least you'll know how to take care of that. Now let's address your layers. If you want to rename your layer, all you have to do is hover your mouse over the layer name and double click, and then it's going to allow you to change the name of that layer. And I'm going to change this to outline, and then I'm going to click outside.